Having the desire for something and acting as if you already have it. They call it make-believe, pretend. Some people, if you're an adult, you call it manifestation, right? And with the kind of person you want to be, the odds of you becoming that person increase because you'll pick up the habits you need to make it a truth. But I think there's certain caveats when it comes down to it. Like, let's say you want a big goal, like a huge vanity metric, like a Lamborghini or something, right? You want a fast car, this and that and the third. And obviously right now, you don't have that money for it. So you have to break it down into what's more realistic. Because if you really break it down, you just want to have enough financial flexibility to afford something like that. So that comes down to your income. If you don't have the kind of income that can get you there, how do you put yourself in a position to get to that point? So you have a couple options. You could either go through standard employment, right? Now, obviously, you're gonna need a high-paying job. Maybe you need to further your education and get yourself in opportunities that can open up that as a possible avenue. Or freelancing, right? You leverage a skill that you have and you sell that, and the value that you provide with that skill can help you to move towards that goal. Or you do self-employment, you start your own business, and then you use your own inherent value, create a product or a service around it, and then you scale that to get to that goal. The main focus is just putting yourself in line with the outcome, not the outcome itself. So you need to work for it, right? That's how you get to that point. Now, your day-to-day life is what's going to determine how consistently you're working towards it. If you want to be in a position where you're earning a consistent income, well, you need to work consistent hours, right? So that applies to not just outside goals or like material objects, but also applies to yourself. Even outside of materialism, if you look at your own physical body, if you want to be in good health, you want to be in good shape, you want to eat better, that comes down to consistent habits that are gonna have to be in line with that version of yourself. So you're gonna have to start making better choices at the grocery store. You're gonna have to be more consistent with your gym routine. You're gonna have to be the kind of person that gets those kind of results. And even with getting that in itself, it requires consistency. The perspective or the mindset that goes into wanting to be a better person has to stay consistent. If you want to improve on Monday, but you don't want to improve on Wednesday, then you're going to lose your track. You're going to lose your momentum. So I think if you really break down everything to like the most core value that you need to make changes or to even put yourself in a different state of mind, it's about having the idea for change be the consistent aspect of change. So if every day you have the same idea of who you want to be and identify yourself with that future outcome, then it'll build over time. And you can't look too much outside of yourself. It's not really about the reality. This isn't about being delusional. It's about staying consistent. Because at the end of the day, your physical reality will take time to catch up to your mental reality, depending on what you want. So if you focus too much on the external, then the internal will get frustrated. You'll get frustrated because you're gonna say, oh, the progress is too slow, nothing's coming out of it, but that's normal because things compound. Time compounds. There's no inherent rush. Like unless you're in like extreme danger and like your life depends on major change, there's no rush to build yourself up. And I believe that if you rush the process, you won't be prepared when things go your way, right? They say opportunity is wasted on the unprepared. And there's no worse signal of unpreparedness than a rushed process because you won't have time. You won't have time to prepare. I feel like another thing too to keep in mind is the scope of your goals and the reason behind you have certain goals. Because if you're doing things that don't really matter to you, the changes won't stick. If you're doing things that are outside of yourself and that don't genuinely bring you the motivation or the consistent motivation to build and to change, it won't last. It'll falter the second things get difficult, because anything that's worthwhile will take time. It'll take time to grow, it'll take time to sustain, it'll take time to scale. So if you're in this headspace of doing it for something that doesn't really matter to you, then once things get hard, or once things get inconvenient, or once you're truly tested, you'll look for a new thing, you'll fall off, you'll feel frustrated, and it'll be a never-ending cycle of like temporary bursts of motivation, obstacle, and then you lose that motivation. Acting as if puts you in alignment. It just restructures the day. It restructures your vision for yourself. I identified myself as being a writer. I've written a book, I'm writing another book, and that vision for myself, what I want to become, right? I want to be a good writer. So that means that every day I should align myself with what that archetype looks like. So I should be writing every day, right? I write because I want to be able to express my ideas into the world and have something tangible that once I'm gone is an idea that stays. At the end of the day, a lot of the stuff we do is out of the fear of death. A lot of the stuff that motivates us is to give us a sense of fulfillment in our lives that we'll carry over when we die. No one wants to finish their lives looking back and thinking that they didn't do enough or that they didn't maximize the time that they spent. You don't need to have big aspirations to want to have a meaningful life. Like, a meaningful life is very subjective. A meaningful life to one person is just building a family and having, stability and consistency in their lives. A meaningful life for someone else is adventure and change, you know what I mean? Like, only you can decide what's meaningful to you. But that meaning has to actually matter. It can't be manufactured. You can't take someone else's meaning and put it in your own definition. That's just not gonna last. So when it comes down to it, when you have a strong desire, a good why, the outcome that you're looking for, you'll start to align yourself naturally, and you'll start doing the things that are in line with that image because it matters, because it's who you want to be. And that's going to take you way further than pretending, or it has to genuinely sit with you, or else you're not going to make that kind of progress. Like, you're going to feel stuck, you're going to feel frustrated, you're going to switch, you're going to give up. It has to really matter. And sometimes that only happens when you have a serious life event that changes your whole worldview. Have a strong why is basically what I'm trying to say. Put yourself in the position to align yourself with the desired outcome you have. The outcome itself is not guaranteed, but the shift in character, the shift in mentality, the consistent actions, that is what matters. That is what changes you. That's what builds your character. That's what makes it so that you're no longer stuck in the same thought patterns, the same maybe destructive habits that you once had. It's the ability to afford the Lambo. It's the ability to have the liquid assets, is the ability to have the income that affords that kind of luxury item. That's what's important. So look at the archetype behind those goals, put it together, and determine what really matters to you. So anyways, watch this video, subscribe, join the winner's circle, and I'll catch you in the next one.